take me back 25 years. What must have been going through your mind when all this was happening? Because, you know, you've made a documentary. It's a personal one in a lot of ways. It's you know, things you feel very strongly about, but one might not have necessarily imagined that it was going to hit in the way that it did.
Right.
What went through your mind? Are you like, finally, people are recognizing my genius, or was it, you know, something a little different?
No, it was more like, why didn't I go to Jenny Craig 3 months ago? I had no idea. I just, honestly, when we were making it, our big plan was to buy an old Ford Econoline van, and we would, like hippies essentially, mostly travel around the state of Michigan, showing the film in Michigan.
Like four-wallet.
Yeah, and for not even in theaters, right. Union halls, right. Churches, schools. That is what, while we were, but when it was finishing, I could tell in my head that, oh my God, people are going to love this. This is going to go drive people crazy. So then, but then I still, how do you make the leap from knowing that? So I knew the response would be great, but how do I get people to see it, yeah. Right? And the great egalitarian thing about, especially this festival, because of the 400 plus films it's showing, is that if you've made a really good movie, the cream here will rise to the top. It will be seen. People will know about it. Studios have people here, and by the time the week was over, Jeff Katzenberg had a ticket for me out at the airport here to come to LA. And I'd never been to LA in my life, and his Disney person here said, "You have to buy this film," and he flew me out there, and I got there, and the limo picked me up. And I had no idea where I was, and it goes to Burbank, and we go down Goofy Lane to Mickey Mouse Lane, to all the streets there, are named after the characters. And I walk in the room, and where they take me, and they're Katzenberg and Eisner are they're watching the credits of my film. And I'm in the back, and I see these two heads on. I don't even know who it is. The lights come on, and it's them. And Eisner sees me, and he turns and he goes, "GM is going to have you killed." And it was like, no, don't say that.
And was there ever, when that was happening, so you're in LA, you're meeting with these guys, did you ever think, you're the people I made this movie about, and I'm working with you now? I
said to them, because I said, you run the Epcot, the Epcot Center is at Disney World in Orlando, so you have a relationship with General Motors. Why do you really want this movie? And then after we had lunch, and they said, basically, we like the movie, but we don't really do this kind of movie. Right. But we think you're a really funny guy. So we'd like to do a deal with you, a 5-picture deal, for comedies, that you will write and direct. And we'll pay you $2 million a picture for both the writing and the directing. And, $2 million total. And I said, yeah, but what about the movie? No, we'll get it on DVD, or not DVD, then VHS. And... yeah, and I wouldn't, and people like back home were like, "What, you mean like 5 pictures times 2? You mean like 10? This could have been $10 million?" I said, "Yeah, but I didn't make it for that." Yeah. And what I wanted to hear from somebody was, "How many theaters are you going to put this in?" And Universal offered me $2.7 million, but they only were going to put it to home video. I got nice offers from Harvey and Bernard and Barker, but in the end, it was Warner's who said they heard they said, "Look, we will guarantee 800 screens." And
which for a documentary at the time was unheard of. Right?
Unheard. Well, I'm like thinking, that's what I thought. To do that, you'd have to put it in multiplexes, which they did. They ended up putting in 1,300 screens. 1,300 screens for a documentary, completely unheard of. Thin Blue Line was the year before that, and that was big for a documentary, and that was essentially probably played 100 art houses, and made a couple $1 million. So, no, it was a big, and I look back now, in hindsight, I see the impact it's had on the form. Maybe not so much the form, because I wish that more documentary filmmakers would stop calling themselves documentarians and call themselves filmmakers and make movies and not sermons or political speeches or castor oil. You must take this medicine. Watch what they're doing to the earth. It's like people work hard all week. They want to go home at Friday night and see a movie, and they if you've decided this, look, I'm glad the politics. I agree with all the politics and all that. But if you're going to be a filmmaker, you have to honor the form of cinema. You have to make a movie. I wish that had happened more and I wish more humor was allowed, where people could understand that you are being serious by using satire. But that's a hard concept to get through. But nonetheless, I think there are 9 films before Roger Me in the history of filmmaking that have grossed $1 million or more. 9.
Documentaries, yeah.
Documentaries. Since Roger Me, 119. So you see where that line is, and that I feel great about. You know, so and it really because I mean Warner's did they do those surveys people the first weekend coming out of the theater, and it was like 95% had never gone to a documentary in a movie theater.
Well, you changed that. I mean, it changed everything. I mean, Norm will attest to. You were reviewing movies back then. This was the first documentary that people talked to me about. Like that wasn't that we weren't talking about in film school, or that we weren't. This was the first doc that people came up on the street instead of saying, "Did you see the new Godzilla movie?" They said, "Jesus, have you seen Roger and Me?" And I'm like, that for me marked a huge change.
Yeah, no, I know it was. I saw it unfold. It was really. So by the time we got to New York a couple of weeks later, then this was the first really American premiere in New York. Then it was. I mean, by that time though, it had. Really, but it was really nice that they invited me back here to do this. As you know, and we all know this festival, they don't do retrospectives, they don't do anniversary, right? I mean, it's a very rare thing. Either it's because of their relationship with the studio that they might do a Ghostbusters or whatever, but you know what it is. I mean, they don't have a Kubrick retrospective during the festival. This is about new movies that are out right now. Or coming out. That's what Toronto is. So it's very nice of them to do this.